I just wonder if she ever thinks about me on my birthday. That was always the question I had. I was adopted through Gladney, and my adoption was closed until I was 18. And then at 18, I was able to register to meet my biological mom. But as the years passed, my biological mom did not register. I would go through waves. Let me get on Facebook and see if I can track her down. You know, I knew I was born in this tiny little town called Tishomingo, Oklahoma. So I'm thinking, how big could that be? I reached out to, the Tishomingo newspaper and, when they used to announce births and things like that. But nothing ever came of it. One day I just decided, you know what? I kind of want to know what I am. Sent off my little DNA test or whatever it was. And then a lady had messaged me and told me about this Facebook page. People will actually take all of your matches and history that you've popped up, and they'll research and help you find your biological parents. I found Pam's Facebook. I sent her a message. So the original message I sent Pam says, "Hi Pam, my name is Jennifer and I was born on April 11th, 1993, and I am your daughter." And truthfully, I don't know how to start off this message, but if you read nothing else of it, I need you to know how thankful I am to you. I could never repay you for the life you gave me. I was told that you were able to choose my parents. My mom and dad are my best friends. I cannot express how much they have done for me, how much they love me, and how much I love them. I have thought about the day I would get to tell you thank you for a very long time. If I never get to know you, I would understand. Maybe I don't have the right to ask, but I had to try. I feel nothing but absolute gratitude towards you and hope that your last 25 years have been all that you could hope for. I really do look forward to at least getting to talk to you once. Please let me know if this is something you'd be willing to do.
I was 26 years old when I discovered I was pregnant. I already had a son. I was working minimum wage. No one knew I was pregnant. I had looked at a couple of adoption places. I went to my first doctor's appointment. I broke down in his office. When I finished telling him what was going on, I had my hands on my knees, and he placed his hand on top of mine, and he said, "Pam, my wife and I adopted a baby from Gladney, a little girl." And he's the one that actually gave me all the information on Gladney. I arrived at the hospital about 7 o'clock that evening, and at 10:25, gave birth to a beautiful little girl. I stood at the nursery window most of the night, just looking at her, shed a lot of tears. I have thought of Jennifer every day since. I want to make one thing very clear. I gave my daughter up, not for selfish reasons. I gave my daughter up purely out of love. There was never any doubt that I did not love that baby. I did what was best for my child, and that was all out of love. It was the hardest thing I think I'd ever done, but I finally sent a message to her, and she immediately responded.
It took a few weeks to get on the phone and talk, and then that slowly started happening more frequently.
So we talked, 3.5 hours we talked. Exactly 1 month after I found out she was looking for me, we met.
Yeah, that was a special day that we all got to meet. There was lots of tears, lots of hugging.
All those lingering questions, they were all answered in that day. She was a beautiful, amazing, smart young lady. She had the life that I couldn't give her, that I wanted for her.
You know, it just felt like the journey finally became complete.
I had actually been in the shower, and when I got out, I noticed that I had missed 3 phone calls from Jennifer. And then I noticed that there was a text from Jennifer, and all it said was, "I'm so sorry, please call me, it's an emergency." So of course, my heart went straight to my throat. So I called her, and she was crying. I said, "Honey, what's wrong? What's going on?" And she proceeded to tell me that she was pregnant. She don't know what to do.
We actually started trying to have a family about 7 years ago, and like a lot of couples, just didn't, happen right away like you expect it to. We did fertility treatments for about 2.5 years. Fertility started to seem like this is an if. Like if we get pregnant, if we have a baby, and adoption was when we have a baby and when we get to be parents. Choosing an agency wasn't hard. Once we got here, it was a no-brainer. And then there's just a lot of waiting.
It's not a fast process. It takes a while, it takes time. You and your spouse will be tested.
And eventually, you're going to get a call that's going to change your life. I mean, you have no idea when it's going to be, and it will just be a day. It will be a day like every other day. You won't have some inkling or feeling. You get a call, and it is the life-changing call.
So I found out I was pregnant pretty unexpectedly. I started considering adoption pretty much immediately. In the first place I started was Gladney, because that's where I was adopted through. My biological mom was my exact age, on birth control, just went through a breakup when she found out she was pregnant with me. And it just became very clear to me in that moment that this was my chance to give a family what my family was given 27 years ago. I came across this family, and their names were Chase and Jessica. My mom could not have kids of her own, which is why they chose to adopt. And so I wanted a family that had fertility issues as well. Just everything seemed so great about them, and then I get to the bottom of it and find that she is adopted. And I just thought, wow, she's everything I am on the other side of this. She's adopted. She's gone through all the questions, all the journeys that I've gone through. It was just such a natural fit.
The most joyous part is when he or she is born and is here. That right there is undescribable feeling, especially when you get to hold them, see them, feel them, touch them. Worth the wait.
It's so glaringly obvious your purpose in life is this. When I held Wyatt for the first time, she handed him to me, and I instantly realized that I am no longer the person I was when I walked in. Whoever I was when I walked into that hospital, I will leave someone else because my purpose is different. My life is different. My heart is different. It feels like this immense responsibility and privilege.
I've always known why Pam placed me for adoption. I've always known that she went through it completely alone. Now, being in her shoes at her age, I mean, she is a strong person. I know she harbored a lot of guilt over the 25 years that we did not know each other, not knowing if she made the right choice, if I had a good family. Back then, adoptions were completely closed. It was a brave decision that, gave me everything, and I never understood why Pam ever thought that she should be afraid of finding me because I might be mad at her or felt like she didn't love me. Now, being in her shoes, I completely understand. I'm terrified that Wyatt will think I didn't want him or I didn't love him. And I'm blessed and grateful and thankful that we have the opportunity to have an open adoption so that I don't go through that for 25 years. I get to tell him I love him, and I get to tell him my story.
We envision that Jen is going to be someone that Wyatt always knows, because kids know what we teach them, and what's normal to kids is what we show them. So Wyatt won't have this day where he wakes up and we say, hey, we really need to tell you something, because he'll always know he's adopted, and he'll always know Jen, and he'll always know who she is and what she did for him and why she did it.
When I found Pam, I thought that was the end of my adoption story. Only to 2 years later find out that my adoption story is still growing in a different way than I expected. I have a whole nother family now that I never thought I would get to have. He will know how lucky he is to know his biological mom, his biological family, and to be this loved.